Hello, my name is Kasia Szczepaniak, and on behalf of Akademii Znajomych, Friends Academy, which is a Warsaw-based initiative, I have a pleasure to invite you to the next episode from our series, Polish New Women at the Edges of the World. In this series, we are introducing Polish females who were exceptionally active and outstanding performance during the interwar period, and one of them is heroine of today's meeting. It's Stanisława Walasiewicz, also known as Stella Walsh. Stanisława was born in Poland in 1911. However, when she was a one-year-old child, her family decided to move to the US. It was a difficult time in Poland at that time because formally Poland did not exist, and it was there were difficult times for people of Polish nationality, and many of them, it is estimated that around 2 million decided to emigrate to find a better place abroad. And obviously, the States, America, they were a common destination. But so was Brazil as well, for example. And this is mentioned also in another episode from this series when we talk about Halina Isakova. Right. But coming back to Stanisława, as I said, she's also known as Stella Walsh because most of her life she spent in the US. After her childhood, obviously, and her young years, but also the rest of her life when she got back there during the Second World War, and that's where she stayed. Speaking of her childhood, she was already very active at that time, very talented, gifted athlete. And she was really talented in many fields. She would run, she would play basketball, and it was noticed. She was theoretically ready to go to the Olympic Games in 1928, but due to her age, she couldn't, and she waited till the next occasion, and in 1932 she eventually went there to the Olympic Games, and she won a gold medal. However, she did not represent the States. It was kind of a paradoxical situation at that time because the United States wanted her to represent the country. However, she was in a difficult situation as she lost her job, and there was no support of any kind in this respect. And she decided, in the very last moment, actually, she decided to represent Poland eventually. And her adventure with Poland, so to say, began in 1929 when she started coming to her home country more often, inspired by the success of Halina Konopacka, a gold medalist from the Polish gold medalist from 1928. And Stanisława received a very warm welcome here in Poland, both from colleagues, but also from fans when she was when people started to know her better, and there were also other reasons behind this decision. As you can see here in this picture, we can see her standing on the top, holding the top position. It was the 100-meter dash. And she said about this moment something very important for the Polish diaspora, that it was her motivation to represent Poland was because of her people in America, in other countries, because at that moment when the Polish anthem was sung, when the Polish flag was raised, she felt she was doing it not only for herself, but for all the people struggling for all those people who left Poland, their home country, and were living abroad in very often difficult positions. So this was her contribution and an important aspect of this achievement. From that moment on, she travels between Poland and the US, but she of course also represents Poland in other countries. You can see her in Copenhagen here. And also she was very popular in Poland. But remembering also her achievements from the US, previous achievements, and you can see here the images, her photos that were published in the Polish magazines as well when she was giving interviews. And what is important to mention is the fact that in the interview period between 1918 and 1939, or actually when she started her career here, so from 1929 on, during those 10 years, she was chosen 4 times as the most popular athlete, Polish athlete. So you can see how recognized and how loved she was by the Polish fans. Polish athletes of that time were very successful and very strong. Poland also, as a young country, was putting a lot of emphasis on the physical aspects of the physical health. And there were others as Jadwiga Wajsówna and Ówna. These endings are typical for Poland and for the maiden surnames, so for unmarried women. Here you can see Stanisława Walasiewicz with another important figure, Maria Kwaśniewska sitting on the grass, and another athlete from that period. And 3 of those ladies, Wajsówna, Walasiewiczówna, and Kwaśniewska, are marching in the first row. And this is, as you can see in Polish, I left this description. It's parade practice before the Olympic Games in Berlin in 1936. Luckily, there are quite a few sources available where we can learn more about Walasiewicz. And one of them is there are publications in Polish, as you can see, Sportsmenki here, Sports Women. Another album that was published by the Museum of Sport and Tourism in Warsaw, as well as the English publication in English, which is quite recent and also portrays the life of Stella Walsh. Last but not least, there are other sources that you can explore online websites. This is a Facebook profile run by distant relatives of Stella Walsh. And there is also the above mentioned Museum of Sport and Tourism, their Facebook. Currently, there is an exhibition held at the museum, which presents souvenirs, important information regarding Stanisława Walasiewicz. And this is a collection actually of her items presented to the museum in 1977 during her visit to Poland. She was planning to come back and to give more of the items to the museum, but she died suddenly in 1980. She was actually shot during a robbery attack, and she died in Cleveland. So that's where she spent the years, as I said, after the war, and that's how the story ended for her. But it didn't end for us, and we can still we can be ambassadors of Stanisława Walasiewicz, spreading the word, and I hope you can help us with that. And that's another resource. Here's the exhibition that is currently held in Warsaw that I mentioned. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed, and please join us for other presentations. They are available on YouTube and on our Facebook. Thank you, and see you soon.